She ran through the empty streets, shouting for people to take cover, to leave, to save themselves. Doors slammed, faces turned away, and whispers of disbelief followed her. "It's nothing. Stop scaring us," they said. But Ayla could not stop. She could not ignore the voice of the ocean, the whisper of the wind, the cry of the storm that carried both danger and urgency. She reached the lighthouse, her sanctuary and the town's only sentinel, and began to climb its spiral staircase. Each step echoed like a drumbeat in the quiet of the night, a rhythm matching the storm's own pulse. At the top, she grasped the ancient foghorn rope. With one strong pull, she sent a deep, thunderous warning across the town. Windows rattled, cats hissed, and the first few townspeople peeked outside, their eyes widening as the sky darkened. Lightning flashed along the horizon, illuminating the growing wall of clouds that threatened to consume everything in its path. The storm had arrived. People ran, cars flooded the streets, families scrambled toward safety. But Ayla did not stop. She kept pulling the foghorn, warning, guiding, and praying that someone, anyone, would listen. The first giant wave struck the cliffs, sending a thunderous roar through the air. The lighthouse shook violently, glass trembling in its frames. Rain lashed against Ayla's face, blinding her, but she held her ground, gripping the rail with hands numb from cold and tension. In the chaos, her grandmother emerged, struggling through the wind and water to reach her. Together, they braced against the storm, the older woman's arms wrapping tightly around Ayla, grounding her against the fury. Lightning struck close, illuminating the tower and the tumultuous sea beyond, casting long, fleeting shadows across the cliff. The first giant wave struck the cliffs, sending a thunderous roar through the air. The lighthouse shook violently, glass trembling in its frames. Rain lashed against Ayla's face, blinding her, but she held her ground, gripping the rail with hands numb from cold and tension. In the chaos, her grandmother emerged, struggling through the wind and water to reach her. Together, they braced against the storm, the older woman's arms wrapping tightly around Ayla, grounding her against the fury. Lightning struck close, illuminating the tower and the tumultuous sea beyond, casting long, fleeting shadows across the cliff. Trees were uprooted, thrown like matchsticks across the streets. Roofs tore free, flying into the air. Debris spun in the turbulent wind, threatening everything in its path. Still, Ayla focused on the town below. Every house, every family, every life mattered more than her own safety. Floodwaters surged through the streets, swallowing roads and sweeping cars along in their relentless tide. And yet, amidst the roaring chaos, Ayla's determination never faltered. She was soaked, chilled to the bone, but burning with a quiet, unwavering courage. The storm's eye formed, bringing a brief, eerie calm. Water paused mid-surge, wind hung motionless in the air, and for a heartbeat, the world seemed frozen. But Ayla knew this calm was only temporary. She gripped the rail tighter, ready for the storm's next onslaught. When the wind returned, it came with renewed fury, waves higher than ever, rain slicing through the darkness. Still, she persisted. She screamed warnings into the gale, her voice carrying hope to the frightened townspeople below. Families ran, children clutched their parents, and the town slowly moved towards safety. Hours passed, yet Ayla never wavered. The storm tested her at every turn. The lighthouse shuddered, the foghorn rope burned her hands, and lightning struck dangerously close. But she stood firm, her eyes never leaving the town she had vowed to protect. Finally, as the first light of dawn began to pierce the dark clouds, the storm began to lose its strength. Rain slowed to a drizzle, the wind softened, and the ocean calmed, leaving behind a town battered but alive. People emerged cautiously, eyes wide with disbelief, gratitude, and awe.